What started as an ordinary morning would soon become a nightmare beyond imagination. The city streets pulse with chaos as cars honk furiously. People push and shove through crowded transportation hubs. Everyone's in a hurry. Everyone's frustrated. But they have no idea what's coming. The green bus screeches to a halt, and in that moment, everything changes. Meet Seongwu, former Special Forces sergeant turned college student. And right now, he's in his own personal hell. The bus terminal swarms with students as he screams about the nightmare of commuting. His friend teases him mercilessly, questioning whether his military background was all talk. Seongwu's frustration boils over, but little does he know, this mundane struggle is nothing compared to what awaits. Tensions rise as heated conversations unfold on campus. One student insists that unification is inevitable, while Seongwu remains skeptical, claiming his friend doesn't follow the news. But it's Hanho who looks truly distressed when someone's name gets mentioned, clearly old wounds from past relationships. The college campus feels normal, peaceful even. Yet something lurks just beneath the surface of this ordinary day. Hanho smirks, but something's wrong. Seongwu raises his hands to his head in shock, his eyes wide with terror as he stares at the sky. He's seen something impossible, words floating in the heavens, a message about downloading monsters. The tick-tock sound echoes ominously as reality begins to crack. Hanho reminisces about missing someone named Myong, but Seongwu can't shake what he witnessed above. The first cracks in normalcy appear as Seongwu's friend dismisses his claims, insisting he's been drinking too much. But that rumbling sound, it's not imagination. Something's stirring beneath the surface of their ordinary world. As they debate grabbing coffee, neither realizes they're standing on the precipice of an apocalypse that will shatter everything they know. Exhaustion weighs heavy as Seongwu makes his way to classroom 404, still insisting he saw words in the sky. The elevator ride feels eternal. Inside the lecture hall, students slump in their seats, fighting sleep as the professor drones on. Seongwu wishes he'd grabbed that coffee. But coffee won't help with what's about to unfold. The calm before the storm grows deafening. Then it happens. A glowing panel materializes before Seongwu's eyes, asking an impossible question. Which class will offer you the best chance of survival in an apocalyptic world? His confusion is palpable as sweat trickles down his temple. He rubs his eyes in disbelief. The electric buzzing grows louder. This can't be real, can it? Darkness swallows the classroom whole. Students panic as the impossible blackout strikes in broad daylight. Voices cry out in terror. Phones won't turn on. Visibility drops to 0. One student in a maroon sweater takes charge, declaring this is no ordinary blackout. But one girl sees something others don't, her phone casting an eerie blue glow on her terrified face. A chilling announcement cuts through the chaos. Everyone can see the same message. 15 seconds remaining on the countdown. Bright light erupts as reality warps around them. Seongwu throws his hands up defensively as holographic cards begin materializing, swirling through the air like some twisted fantasy game. The impossible has become reality. Seongwu desperately urges everyone not to touch anything, sensing the danger these mysterious cards represent. But panic overrides caution as the countdown continues. 10 seconds, then 8. How do you stay calm when you don't know what happens when time runs out? The tension builds to a breaking point as shadows dance, and the timer ticks away their final moments. A sword materializes with a thunderous clunk, shocking everyone present. The students can barely comprehend what they're witnessing as the dark-haired protagonist recalls the interface's question about survival in an apocalyptic world. With only 5 seconds remaining, he realizes each card represents different stats, different paths to survival. His expression transforms from fear to fierce determination as he reaches for his choice. In a moment of reckless decision-making, Seongwu declares he'll pick the card with the most stars. A mystical green skull emerges as the system confirms his selection. Necromancer, 4 out of 5 stars. The shock ripples through the group as someone stammers about the ominous class choice. Then, in a blinding flash, they're back in the classroom. But everything has changed. Chaos erupts in the classroom as one student holds a massive sword, his round face flushed with panic. He screams about feeling possessed as the weapon materialized from his warrior card selection. Meanwhile, Seongwu stares at his empty hands, frustrated. If he's truly become a necromancer, where are his powers? The crash outside signals that their nightmare is just beginning. Terror Incarnate appears as a creature with burning yellow eyes tackles the panicked student. He screams for help as something latches onto him, refusing to let go. The beast slams him down repeatedly, and his agonized cries echo through the room. Blood appears on his hands as he weakens, his pleas growing desperate. This is no game. This is life and death. A grotesque creature with massive yellow eyes unleashes a bone-chilling roar. Students huddle together in absolute terror as the beast reveals its true, horrifying form. The girl screams, the boys shout in panic, and Seongwu stands frozen among the scattered furniture and debris. The classroom has become a battleground, and they're utterly unprepared for what they're facing. Minsu, the nervous boy with round glasses, clutches his sword while others desperately plead for him to act. But how do you fight a nightmare made real? An eerie voice from the shadows calls his name, adding psychological terror to physical threat. Minsu's confusion peaks as he asks what he's supposed to do. Then comes the lunge, sudden, vicious, unavoidable. A goblin-like creature with gray skin and oversized yellow eyes screeches as it attacks. The terrified student with the sword realizes his mistake. He should have run earlier. But turning his back now means certain death. The sounds of violence fill the air as the small but vicious creature presses its assault with surprising ferocity. Fear battles with logic as the panicked student tries to rationalize the situation. The beast is tiny, maybe 30 pounds, surely manageable. He grabs a makeshift weapon and yells at the creature to get lost. But the goblin's gray skin, sharp teeth, and glowing eyes tell a different story. It smirks with malicious intelligence before dashing forward with a predator's screech.
Seongwu's desperation explodes into action as furniture rattles around him. A massive crash shakes the room as he throws the goblin with unexpected force. The creature's grotesque form crumples under the impact. Then, impossibly, a blue notification appears, 10 gold for defeating a goblin. The game mechanics are real, and Seongwu just scored his first kill.
The reality hits like a sledgehammer. Gold rewards for goblin kills. Their world has literally become a fantasy game. Seongwu stares at the impossible interface while Minsu trembles nearby, still clutching his sword. A new command appears, revealing Seongwu's ability to control the dead. The necromancer powers are real, but with them comes a terrifying new responsibility. Seongwu's shock turns to horror as something emerges behind him. Turquoise flames swirl as a skeletal figure materializes, draped in tattered robes and wielding a dagger. The ghostly warrior rises from the ethereal fire, and Seongwu can barely process what he's witnessing. His necromancer class has summoned its first minion, a skeleton bound to his will. The truth crystallizes as Seongwu declares his necromancer abilities to summon the undead. Ghostly green energy surrounds him as skeletal hands reach out from otherworldly realms. But more goblins approach, small creatures with glowing skulls and bright blue eyes, hooded and armed. They dash forward with murderous intent as the undead minion prepares to defend its new master. Panic spreads as more goblins appear. The blonde student cries out that there are two this time, while his companion stares in terror. But Seongwu has found his voice of command. When the system prompts him, he doesn't hesitate. Fight. Kill those bastards. His skeletal minion awaits orders, glowing teal eyes fixed on its targets as battle sounds echo through the chaos. Steel meets flesh as the goblin lunges with its knife. The skeletal fighter responds with lightning reflexes, deflecting strikes with metallic clangs. The goblin screeches in rage and surprise as its attacks are turned aside. The undead warrior spins with practiced precision, weapon cutting through air. This is what necromancy looks like in action, death serving death. Seongwu realizes the truth about his enemies. They're small, child-sized, not impossible to defeat. But he needs a proper weapon to turn the tide. He desperately calls to Minsu for his sword, but the terrified student protests that he chose this class. It belongs to him. Even as chaos surrounds them, Seongwu's military training kicks in. He sees the tactical advantage they need. Menacing creatures snarl with glowing yellow eyes as another student cowers in terror. But when the frightened boy refuses to hand over his sword, Seongwu's response is cutting. Keep it for peeling potatoes. The insult lands as a skeleton warrior charges forward with a battle cry, weapon raised. Sometimes mockery is the best motivation for cowards. Blood sprays as the blonde student drives his knife into goblin flesh. His shocked expression reveals the brutal reality of taking a life, even a monster's life. The system rewards him with 10 gold, but victory comes at a psychological cost. As he catches his breath, a skeleton figure looms ominously behind him. Death is everywhere now, serving both sides of this twisted game. The skeleton's glowing blue eyes unnerve the nervous student, who apologizes for finding the undead minion creepy. He asks it to look elsewhere, clearly disturbed by its presence. But this is Seongwu's reality now, commanding the dead, maxing out his minion limit. The interface confirms his authority over death itself, even as he struggles with the moral implications. Chaos erupts as students scream for help while Seongwu battles the child-sized creatures. Minsu panics completely, while a girl frantically tries to call police with no success. The classroom has become a war zone, furniture overturned, windows showing ominous red light outside. Seongwu realizes this nightmare extends far beyond their small room. It's everywhere. The devastating truth emerges as flames consume the cityscape beyond their windows. A shadowy figure confirms the horror. This catastrophe spans the entire country. The characters stare at the inferno consuming buildings across the horizon, realizing their classroom nightmare is just one small piece of a global apocalypse. The woman screams they cannot stay here as the world burns around them. Desperate to escape campus, a student suggests using his car from the parking lot. But their exit route leads through darkened corridors where more goblin creatures lurk. Yellow eyes gleam in shadows as the monsters prepare their ambush. The woman's terrified scream echoes through the hallway, run. But there's nowhere left to hide from this nightmare. Battle erupts in the stark corridor as Seongwu fights the blue-bodied creatures. He shouts for everyone to run while declaring he'll hold them off alone. But panic scatters the group as sound effects of violence fill the air. Whacks, screams, the clang of metal doors. Seongwu's military training takes over as he becomes the rear guard in their desperate retreat. In the aftermath, Seongwu contemplates the game's rules with cold military precision. He realizes this chaos follows certain patterns. Kill more, survive better. His skeletal minions flank him as he calculates odds and strategies. The sounds of ongoing battle remind him that while others scatter in fear, he's found his purpose in this hellish new world. Steel clashes against claw as combat intensifies. The creature with burning yellow eyes grins maniacally as it attempts strikes, only to be beaten back with powerful blows. Each impact reverberates through the space. Clang, whack, crack. The protagonist smirks down at his defeated opponent, and the system confirms another minion has returned to eternal slumber. Victory, but at what cost? Terror fills the teal-haired student's voice as he pleads for mercy. Goblin creatures pant and snarl menacingly, their glowing eyes promising violence. But salvation comes in the form of a dark-clad warrior who strikes with devastating force. Gold rewards flash as another goblin falls, and relief washes over the survivors. Sometimes help comes from the most unexpected allies. Seongwu stares in amazement at his level-up notification. He's reached level 2 as a necromancer. The holographic interface displays his stats like a real video game, and he marvels at having a status window. But something's missing. Where are the attribute points that games usually grant? The futuristic environment pulses around him as he processes this new reality. Strategy becomes crucial as Seongwu realizes this game runs on luck-based rewards. He holds a glowing skill container, hoping for something useful. The system announces his maximum minion count has increased, but his mana sits critically low at 3 out of 30. His 4 skeletal minions with glowing blue eyes seem amused. At least they don't require much magical energy to maintain. The eerie figures with glowing blue eyes and white masks still unnerve Seongwu, and he asks them to look elsewhere. He tries to rationalize their presence while acknowledging his need to stay vigilant for survival. One moment of relaxation could mean death in this twisted game. He's done well so far, but the real test is yet to come. Panic erupts as a character with brown hair screams for help, overwhelmed by attacking creatures. Meanwhile, the teal-haired strategist contemplates staying in the building versus venturing outside into unknown dangers. A skeletal figure lurks ominously as another cloaked figure dashes away with desperate urgency. Safety is an illusion when death surrounds you on all sides. Reunion in hell as Hanho screams in terror, tears streaming down his face. Seongwu appears like an avenging angel, striking down with his weapon. Their friendship becomes a lifeline in this nightmare as Seongwu's ghostly bodyguards surround them. Hanho chose the rogue class with 1 star, but Seongwu reassures him. They'll face this apocalypse together. The friends discover synergy bonuses as their classes complement each other. Hanho jokes about his 1-star rank, making him equivalent to a brigadier general, while Seongwu skeptically evaluates their team dynamics. The digital interfaces reveal the mathematical benefits of their partnership. Sometimes survival isn't about individual strength. It's about finding the right allies. Seongwu examines the mysterious synergy buff, realizing it applies not just to humans, but to his undead minions as well. The masked figures with glowing blue eyes watch from the shadows as he contemplates his class choice. A slight smile crosses his face. Perhaps he chose well after all. In a world gone mad, having death itself as an ally might be the ultimate advantage. Horror escalates as a larger goblin leader emerges, its fierce expression and glowing yellow eyes promising greater danger. Seongwu identifies it as their chief while the system reveals a crucial advantage. The scent of death has weakened all goblins by 30%. A smaller goblin shrieks maniacally, but Seongwu realizes he might have gotten lucky with this unexpected buff. Combat reaches fever pitch as weapons clash and creatures screech. Hanho cheers enthusiastically, raising his sword as he shouts support for their team. His excitement contrasts sharply with the serious expression on Seongwu's face as they face increasingly dangerous opponents. The menacing creature with glowing eyes prepares for a devastating counterattack that could change everything. The Goblin Chief activates its most dangerous ability, Wild Berserker, buffing all monsters under its command. Hanho suggests fleeing, but Seongwu remains focused and composed. He understands that his skeleton warriors follow his commands absolutely. Sometimes the key to victory isn't running from power. It's understanding how to counter it. The masked enemy unleashes a devastating energy explosion, orange and yellow flames erupting with tremendous force. Seongwu's eyes widen as he shouts in recognition. This is it. Blue light emerges from the chaos as his skeletal warriors leap into action, red eyes glowing with deadly intent. One skeleton strikes with tremendous force, debris scattering from the impact of their supernatural clash. Blood flows as Seongwu grimaces in pain, struggling against the larger goblins. Smaller creatures hiss menacingly while brandishing weapons, but he strikes back with a thunderous blow. A supernatural skull radiates bright blue light, confirming that magical forces are at play. Victory notifications appear as gold rewards accumulate, but each triumph comes at a physical cost. The battle reaches its crescendo as notifications chime repeatedly, gold for every defeated goblin. The skeletal warrior roars triumphantly while delivering crushing blows. A goblin staggers in its dark armor, yellow eyes dimming as it suffers devastating attacks. The final thud echoes through the battlefield as the goblin chief falls, marking their greatest victory yet. Amazement fills Hanho's voice as he laughs in relief and excitement. Seongwu points out the glowing items scattered around their fallen enemies, the spoils of victory. A crude spear radiates magical energy, while a bracelet promises increased attack speed. These aren't just monsters anymore. They're treasure troves waiting to be claimed. Seongwu surveys their hard-won treasures with satisfaction, remarking on the impressive collection they've managed to gather. His skeletal companion gives an enthusiastic thumbs up with its tiny sword, offering congratulations for a job well done. The atmosphere lightens despite their dark surroundings. They've survived their first real test, but what new horrors await in this game-cursed world? What was that monstrous display of power? Seongwu grips his spear, blood still fresh on his arm from the battle. But as his companion questions where they should go next, a chilling realization hits them. There are innocent people nearby, students who might panic at the sight of armed fighters. One mistake, one moment of fear, and these civilians could turn hostile. Chaos erupts in the hallway as trapped students demand answers. The student council president tries to maintain order, but doubt spreads like wildfire. A frustrated girl challenges their authority. What can the council possibly do against this nightmare? The green-haired boy's calm facade cracks as he admits the horrible truth. No matter what they try, the doors won't budge. Tensions flare as someone criticizes the student council member's motives. Just inflating his ego, they sneer. But danger lurks everywhere. A panicked voice shouts warnings about the doors, desperation bleeding through every word. The weight of responsibility crushes down on the dark-haired boy as he apologizes for his edge. How can he protect everyone when he doesn't even understand what's happening? Seongwu encounters Jinseok, recognizing him from the welcome party. The conversation turns deadly serious as they discuss weapons and protection. The green-haired student council member's smile holds dangerous implications. If you have weapons, you need to help defend the others. The casual greeting masks the grim reality that every armed student is now a potential soldier in this war for survival. Seongwu positions himself protectively, instructing others to hide behind him if trouble comes. Panic spreads as Jinseok reports a possible goblin sighting nearby. The blonde leader rallies everyone to move quietly into the cafe, understanding that silence could mean the difference between life and death. Every step must be calculated, every breath controlled. A magical seal blocks their escape. 2 hours and 11 minutes to defeat a boss monster. Seongwu's companion stares at the ominous notification in disbelief. Is this some twisted timed event where failure means death for everyone? The dark-haired boy tests the door, but it won't budge. The stakes couldn't be clearer. Kill the boss or die trapped forever. Seongwu introduces Min-soo to the group, feeling more confident with his juniors by his side. But when he suggests holding their position here, Min-soo's shocked reaction reveals the magnitude of what they're facing. The boy with glasses panics at the thought of dealing with monsters in this corridor. Can they really trust their lives to an unproven rescue team? Military service becomes the topic as tensions rise. The teal-haired boy confidently claims he's completed his service, but his companion points out the harsh reality. The army can't protect every corner of the country. Just as the debate intensifies, chaos erupts. Someone bursts in with alarming news about approaching goblins, sending shockwaves through the group. Jinseok cries out in terror as mysterious figures approach down the hall. Small creatures with glowing skull-like faces emerge from the shadows, wielding weapons and spreading fear. But wait, one calm voice cuts through the panic. These skeletal figures aren't enemies. There's something far more unsettling, allies under someone's control. The confrontation reaches a breaking point as accusations fly about duty and leadership. When challenged about his class, the dark-haired boy's eyes begin to glow with supernatural energy. His simple response chills the air, a strong one. Suddenly, a notification confirms the activation of Death's Scent. The goblin stats plummet by 30% as terror grips their hearts. A wild voice echoes through the hall. Let the hunt begin. Students scramble in confusion as the unthinkable unfolds before their eyes. The green-haired boy can't believe what he's witnessing. Those creatures they heard about, they're real. They're here, and the hunt has officially started. The blue-skinned goblin stumbles backward, clearly injured and overwhelmed. Meanwhile, the teal-haired fighter brandishes his weapon with deadly precision, the crack of his strike echoing through the chaos. Nearby goblins get smashed aside like paper dolls. A blonde character with a shield watches in amazement. How is this guy slaughtering goblins with just that basic spear? Goblin reinforcements screech down the stairs, but Jinseok takes command. He shouts orders to block their escape route, while his skeletal minions rush forward with deadly efficiency. This is his moment to prove himself, to show everyone that he can control these undead warriors and resolve this crisis. Only then can he convince others to follow his lead into battle. The realization dawns that this fierce fighter is commanding an army of skeletons. Students discuss the bracelet buff skill that makes goblins trivial, but stronger monsters await ahead. Relief mixes with uncertainty as they try to identify this mysterious senior from their department. His skeletons strike with bone-crushing force, scattering enemies like leaves. The green-haired fighter lunges forward with fierce determination, his weapon connecting with a decisive stab. Relief floods his voice. I did it. His fellow students erupt in celebration, amazed by his bravery. Is he really from their college? Thank goodness someone like him is here. But amid the victory, a grim discovery emerges. The defeated enemies dropped no items. A brilliant flash announces an incredible achievement. A roulette ticket for killing 20 monsters. Seongwu ranks 34th to complete this feat, earning infinite status among only 100 people. But how will he receive this mysterious ticket without an inventory system? As his team celebrates their success, camaraderie builds between the survivors. A sweaty, desperate man reveals the truth about their predicament. The door displays a mysterious message, but strange circumstances prevent them from opening or breaking it down. Anxiety ripples through the gathered students as someone asks the inevitable question. What can they do now? The answer, he tells them, lies written on that very door. 2 hours. That's all they have left. The confident fighter holds up 2 fingers, emphasizing the urgency of finding and defeating the boss within that time frame. A panicked boy raises his hand. He's seen the monster. The revelation hits like a thunderbolt. The boss is waiting on the roof, and failure means facing an escalation of terror beyond imagination. Hope and fear collide as Seongwu contemplates asking others to face the boss monster. Most people will be too scared to join him. He knows this. The group dynamics shift as someone insists they'll stay behind while another playfully refuses, claiming Seongwu needs help with the skeletons. In the background, a strong female fighter grips her bat, ready for whatever comes next. Ji Soo-yin steps forward with lethal confidence, questioning the wisdom of bringing weak allies against a formidable boss when Seongwu already has his powerful skeletons. Jinseok sweats nervously, pointing out how rash this plan seems given their ignorance of the boss's true strength. The group stands divided between calculated caution and desperate bravery. Time is slipping away. Seongwu urges the group to move immediately, knowing every second counts. As they approach the dimly lit stairwell, a warning rings out about staying vigilant, remembering the wisdom of famous generals about survival. But their caution proves warranted as goblin eyes glow menacingly in the darkness above. The stairs are infested too. The red-haired warrior explodes into action, her movements a blur of lethal precision. She dodges attacks with fluid grace while the green-skinned enemy watches in terror. Her blade slashes through the air with deadly efficiency. Blood spatters as she retaliates, her strikes finding their mark with surgical accuracy. The clash ends with enemies falling backward, overwhelmed by her skill. She catches her breath after the intense skirmish, her sword still gleaming. Seongwu watches in admiration, impressed by her incredible fighting ability. But the moment of relief is shattered as shadowy figures emerge from the darkness. Glowing-eyed skeletons advance with silent menace, their presence casting an ominous pall over the stairwell.
The danger is far from over.
The blonde girl reflects on earlier wisdom while a tall figure leans stoically against the wall. But their banter is interrupted by a shocking discovery. Professor Huang appears in the shadows. Seongwu recognizes him immediately, but the professor's disheveled state and anguished expression tell a story of horror. Something terrible has happened to his students.
Professor Huang recounts his desperate attempt to follow evacuation protocols, escaping to the labs with students before heading to the roof. But his voice trembles as he reveals the terrifying truth. There was an even more horrifying monster waiting on the roof. The group reacts with shock and alarm. Did those students encounter that creature? The professor's warning is clear: don't go up there. Fear grips the dark-haired boy as he clutches his weapon, trembling at the thought of more death. The professor's warning echoes in his mind. He doesn't want anyone else to die. But destiny calls to him through the darkness. Is this moment the turning point that will define his fate? An exclusive quest materializes, offering a choice between salvation and sacrifice. Frustration boils over as someone demands to know why they must endure such horrors. Seongwoo's companion asks nervously if it's really safe to proceed upstairs, his voice stuttering with fear. The skeletal guardians with glowing blue eyes emerge as ominous sentinels, and with a foreboding clunk, they cross the threshold into the boss room. There's no turning back now. The roof burns under an orange sky as flames cast everything in hellish light. A sinister figure with glowing yellow eyes cackles with malevolent joy amid the destruction. Seongwoo's companion panics, pointing and shouting warnings about someone from their class being in mortal danger. The revelation hits like a thunderbolt. That monster, they recognize it. The dark-haired girl in her red hoodie snarls about those damn monsters, her sword gleaming with deadly intent. Her companion urges them forward as weapons clash and screech through the air. Their resolve hardens like steel. They must become stronger to survive this nightmare. The grotesque creatures charge toward them, yellow eyes blazing with hunger for destruction. A knife-wielding figure looms against the fiery backdrop as Seongwoo suggests retreat. But his companion refuses. They must stand their ground. No running, not this time. Skeletal goblins grin with menacing playfulness as magical energy builds around a glowing hand. The wild berserker skill activates, promising enhanced combat abilities for the battle ahead. Chaos erupts as screeching fills the air and enemies prepare their assault. The dark-haired fighter braces himself as glowing-eyed opponents rush forward. Weapons clash with explosive force, clanging metal, slashing blades, devastating impacts. Each strike reverberates through the battlefield as he pushes through the violent storm of combat with unwavering determination. The young fighter shouts tactical command about using enemies as shields while engaging in brutal close-quarters combat. But frustration overwhelms him as he gets struck down hard. Regret floods his mind. Why did he choose this class? He thought it would be powerful, but now it feels utterly useless against these relentless monsters. The dark-haired girl curses as she hurls her throwing knife with deadly precision. Her companion stabs with fierce intensity, while a younger boy watches uncertainly from the sidelines. Suddenly, memories flood back. He remembers being good at combat. Confidence surges through him as he joins the fray, delivering a powerful punch that echoes through the chaotic battlefield. A desperate hand reaches out as a girl's terrified scream pierces the air. A sinister goblin observes the chaos with twisted satisfaction. But then the muscular young fighter clenches his fist with sudden realization. This is it. He's discovered his true talent amid the carnage. The scent of death activates, weakening the goblin horde by 30% as dark shadows loom ominously over their terrified forms. An explosive blast rocks the battlefield as debris flies in all directions. Terrified goblins shriek in response to the destruction. Then he appears, the goblin captain, a muscular monster with wild blonde hair and tattered clothing. His earth-shaking roar announces his arrival as the ultimate threat. The boss monster has finally revealed himself for the ultimate confrontation. Villainous figures cackle with glowing yellow eyes as the fierce young warrior raises his sword high.
Kill them all, he roars, his battle-worn outfit testament to the violence he's endured. Energy crackles around his blade as he slashes with supernatural force. Each strike lands with devastating impact, slams, thuds, and crushing blows that shake the very foundations of the battlefield. The creature with wild green hair growls menacingly as it raises its arms in preparation for attack. A panicked fighter screams for everyone to get back, terror written across his sweat-streaked face. But then a revelation echoes through the chaos. You can command the dead under your authority. A small creature charges forward with surprising determination as explosive impacts shake the battlefield. Seongwu grimaces as he fights, his movements creating a whirlwind of destruction. But his mana is running dangerously low, 20 out of 30 points remaining. Corpses litter the battlefield, yet he realizes he's approaching his limit. The monstrous captain blocks his attack with dual swords, growling with predatory satisfaction. You managed to block that? Seongwu taunts, even as the creature prepares its counterattack. Panic spreads as they realize the boss is truly enraged now, its fury directed at them with lethal intent. A frightened voice pleads for help while three skeletal warriors with glowing eyes rush forward to provide support. The blonde fighter expresses gratitude to his undead allies as they arrive just in time, their weapons gleaming with supernatural energy ready to turn the tide of battle. The monstrous captain unleashes its full fury, kicking and slamming with devastating force. Its skull-like visage towers over fallen opponents as the angry young fighter retaliates with his weapon. Blood spatters across the battlefield as he declares his intention to end this fight with a single, decisive swing. The creature's wild yellow hair whips through the air as combat reaches its peak intensity. The young woman with determined brown hair coldly states, "Too bad," as she demonstrates her blade mastery. The boy with dark hair analyzes her strategic movements, recognizing she's no ordinary student. Her tactical awareness and skill with weapons reveal advanced training. Blue and green flames erupt from the ground as he realizes he must also become more strategic to survive this escalating battle. The muscular captain strikes with devastating force while a luminous orb speeds through the air. The creature roars and slams with incredible power, but Seongwu's energy is failing him. His mana has dropped critically low, only 3 points remaining out of 30. Damn it, he curses as objects clatter from his weakening grip. The boss growls in confusion, sensing his opponent's vulnerability. A skeleton wobbles unsteadily as the enemy roars and explosions erupt in the background. The massive sword swings create thunderous impacts while the monstrous creature's yellow eyes gleam with predatory hunger. Seongwu realizes the desperate truth. At this rate, they'll all perish unless he can land a decisive blow on their seemingly invincible opponent. The battle reaches its crescendo as the monstrous figure unleashes an earth-shaking roar amid explosive destruction. Debris flies through the air like deadly projectiles. Seongwu sighs heavily, his grip tightening around his sword as he prepares for what may be their final gambit. The weight of responsibility and exhaustion press down on him as he steels himself for one last desperate attack. The skeletal warrior with glowing blue eyes shouts the charge command as his companion dashes forward with unwavering determination. The young fighter leaps into action, his attacks creating explosive impacts that crack through enemy defenses. Dynamic movements flow like water as he grabs his sword mid-battle, soaring through the chaotic melee with precise timing and deadly intent. The muscular captain prepares to clash with the skeletal swordsman as they engage in their deadly dance. Metal rings against bone as the sword swings down with tremendous force. A brilliant flash erupts from their collision, triggering something unexpected. The synergy effect activates. Teamwork has unlocked new power, offering multiple attack boost options as fiery energy engulfs the battlefield. The skeletal figure grips its weapon with menacing intensity while Seongwu declares his confidence. With his synergy effect and weapon, victory is within reach. A character in red charges forward wielding a massive desk as an improvised weapon, taunting about delivering solid desk from hell. Purple hair flies as another fighter leaps into action, culminating in a powerful strike that rocks the battlefield. Chaos explodes across the battlefield as the monstrous captain roars while slashing downward. A smaller fighter dodges desperately as a skull creature with bright green eyes makes slicing motions. Dynamic impacts reverberate, wabam, slam, bang, as combatants clash with supernatural force. Through the violence, a triumphant shout rings out. Nice shot, acknowledging a successful strike amid the turmoil.
The lion-like warrior grits his teeth as he grips his blade, preparing for the final confrontation. Suddenly, the skeletal figure's eyes flash with brilliant blue light as he seizes his moment. Now's my chance. His declaration turns ominous. It's time, T.O., sacrifice yourself. A small figure in a green hood speaks with touching gratitude, saying goodbye and thanking the lion warrior for everything. A noble sacrifice approaches.
The final moment arrives as the young man charges forward with his sword, yelling with all his might. But surprise halts his advance. A voice interrupts with a simple "what?" The skeletal figure executes a swift maneuver as the sword flows through the air with lethal precision. A notification reveals the bleeding effect chance has increased by 88%. Wide eyes show the realization of what's about to unfold. Victory tastes sweet as Seongwu receives his reward, 255 gold for slaying the goblin captain. But wait, something's wrong. His companion stares in horror at the skeletal figure rising from the defeated foe. What was once a common goblin now stands transformed, glowing green eyes piercing the darkness, leveling up before their very eyes. A strange tattoo marks its arm. What dark magic is this? The system interface reveals the truth. An elite goblin skeleton now serves Seongwu. As the group celebrates their level-ups, excitement fills the air. Seongwu reaches level 3 while his companions share their own victories. They discuss floating cards and random rewards, the chaos of their new reality becoming strangely normal. Yet beneath their excitement lurks the weight of what they've become. Seongwu selects his level-up card, remembering how he previously expanded his minion capacity. The system grants him something unexpected. Create weapons from bones, basic. His eyes widen. He can craft weapons from the very remains of his enemies? The skill details reveal countless possibilities. As he processes this dark gift, memories of Professor Kim surface. His destiny shifts once again. The power surge continues. His maximum minions increase by 1. 5 total now. 5 undead soldiers at his command. Seongwu ponders what this means for his carefully planned future. A companion admires his new rogue's hood, learning it helps him hide from monsters. But Seongwu's resolve crystallizes. No more hiding. No more running. It's time to face the darkness head-on. Jisoo hands over a mysterious fire whetstone, its properties immediately sparking curiosity. The nervous companion wonders if it's flammable, but Jisoo explains its true purpose, sharpening blades with supernatural heat. The battle-scarred environment tells of recent chaos. Meanwhile, Jinseok appears in a separate location, his anxious expression suggesting new troubles brewing. The calm between storms grows thinner. Doubt festers like poison. An anxious student questions whether they should have stayed behind, while others wonder if Seongwu was right about fighting the boss. The group's unity fractures as whispers spread. A blonde authority figure explodes in rage, accusing them of ingratitude. His fury boils over. After everything he's done to protect them, this is the thanks he gets? The confrontation erupts as the blonde man in the white coat unleashes his fury on the group. "Look here, you assholes," he roars, arm outstretched in accusation. Confused voices try to understand his sudden rage. He threatens to abandon them all, suggesting they can leave or die on the roof like that bastard Seongwu. His years of controlled temper finally snap. Venom drips from every word as he claims Seongwu died like a fool on the roof. The group falls silent, terror creeping in. A younger member reacts with shock at the mention of death. But something sinister emerges, ghostly skeletons with glowing eyes materialize, their presence sending waves of fear through the crowd. The very air grows thick with supernatural dread. A dark-haired figure challenges the accusation with cold calculation. What? Did you want me to die? Behind him, defeat weighs heavy on another's shoulders. Suddenly, kaboom! An explosion rocks their sanctuary. Panic spreads like wildfire as Jinseok realizes the horrifying truth of their situation. One character delivers a cutting blow. You look really pathetic right now. In a bright, spacious area, tension crackles like electricity. Jinseok nervously asks if there's something to discuss, while a stern figure looms threateningly nearby. Background conversations hint at brewing conflict. Someone expresses their long-held disdain for an arrogant member. I never liked that guy, they mutter. He acts tough. The sound of weapons being drawn echoes ominously. Outside, chaos reigns supreme. A figure gripping a weapon warns the area is safe for now, but demands quiet movement. Bodies litter the ground as a blonde survivor mentions the corpses nearby. Groups of goblins roam the area. Are they hiding somewhere on the grounds? Someone points excitedly toward distant figures. Hope flickers in the darkness. A commanding figure strides forward, knife in hand, radiating dangerous authority. His allies flank him, determined faces mixed with fear and resolve. The blonde character gestures grandly with his sword, declaring these people have fought and survived the impossible. Recognition sparks as Dizong appears among the crowd. Jinseok's slight smirk hints at unexpected confrontations ahead. Enter Dizong Park, student council president with striking silver hair and an authoritative smile. His confidence radiates as he declares his luck at finding this group. Students whisper nervously while one serious girl seems particularly annoyed. Dizong maintains his encouraging demeanor, acknowledging their struggles while promising safety through unity. But can he be trusted? Questions arise about Dizong's monstrous companions, shadowy figures lurking behind him with a spear-wielding warrior in dark robes. He explains these creatures came from his class card choice. The ultimatum comes swift and cold. Join his group, but first destroy all of Seongwu's monsters. The necromancer realizes he's being painted as a threat. How convenient. Outrage explodes as Seongwu's companion defends the undead minions. What did you say? Creepy. The smaller boy trembles, but insists they're cute, while others try to maintain confidence. Seongwu grips his weapon, refusing to disarm himself. A muscular figure responds with sarcastic menace, his smirk suggesting imminent danger. The tension reaches a breaking point. Confrontation erupts as feet stomp forward menacingly. A girl with flowing hair points her sword at the authority figure, questioning his self-importance. Who died and made you king? She demands. The crisis has stripped away social hierarchies. Another tries to mediate while she exposes his hypocrisy about financial scandals. The urban backdrop emphasizes their brutal new reality. The accusations fly like arrows. A student with spiky hair boldly admits to reporting Dizong on a university website, his confidence unshakable. Dizong responds with cold threats about regret and the need for synergy. He demands they leave before causing more chaos. But his parting shot cuts deep. When they end up dead, they'll regret not joining him. As sunset paints the campus orange, understanding dawns. I see. One observes while another explodes in anger. What a piece of shit. They plan their escape, avoiding populated areas. The path by the hill leads to the main gate, usually deserted, hopefully safe. Shadowy figures lurk around distant staircases as urgency drives their desperate planning. The wooded path stretches before them, eerily silent under the dying light. It's so quiet. One murmurs, way too quiet. His companion agrees. Suddenly, a hand shoots up forcefully. Stop. The warning comes sharp and urgent. Fingers press to lips, demanding silence, as ominous sound effects hint at approaching danger. Something stalks them in the shadows. Horror materializes in muscular form. A massive creature with spiky blonde hair towers over a defeated goblin. The sight sends chills through Seongwu's companions. Eek! What is that? One cries. It's bigger than that goblin boss. The realization hits like a thunderbolt. After goblins come orcs. A red-skinned beast leaps into action with savage fury. Chaos erupts as the monstrous figure soars through the air. A student reacts with mixed surprise and terror, while Seongwu's necromantic mind calculates coldly. Material for a new skeleton just turned up, he observes with chilling pragmatism. The creature crashes down with devastating force as he commands everyone to duck. The hunter becomes the hunted. Terror grips the dark-haired boy as he stammers. What the hell was that? Rustling bushes signal approaching doom. The masked warrior turns with menacing intent, weapon ready. Jisoo swings her blade with fierce determination, the swoosh cutting through air. Metal clashes against metal with a resounding clang. She struggles, wincing, before executing a decisive counterstrike. Explosive energy erupts across the battlefield. Boom! Seongwu shouts tactical commands. Block him! A small figure with glowing blue eyes and a ski cap prepares to strike. The muscular enemy grins with savage anticipation, panting heavily. Swift movements blur through the air as weapons clash. The one-armed warrior activates, increasing bleeding effect chances by 88%. Wham! Slam! The ground shakes under the devastating assault. Jisoo grips her sword, shouting for stable ground as debris flies everywhere. Damn it! She curses, frustrated by her failed defense. I thought I blocked it properly. The muscular beast continues its relentless advance. A tactical voice cuts through chaos. They must fight this like the goblin boss. The forest erupts in combat as the blonde warrior screams, ARGH, under attack. Weapons swing through air with deadly precision. Follow the plan, comes the strategic command. With corpses abundant, mana management becomes crucial. Ghostly figures engage in fierce battle, sound effects punctuating each brutal exchange. Nice, now take that. Someone shouts as skeletons sacrifice themselves for victory. Panic overwhelms the dark-haired boy as the muscular creature's true horror is revealed. The masked beast swings with devastating force. Clang. Explosions rock the battlefield. RRH echoes through the chaos as the boy screams in terror. Eorg. The creature's grip tightens around its victim before another warrior draws his sword, ready for desperate combat. The red-haired warrior strikes with fury, eliciting a pained JH from her opponent. A muscular fighter responds with a powerful slash, green skull energy glowing in his hand. Slash pierces the air as the slim fighter in black delivers a precise thrust. The orc-like creature roars in agony as green energy explodes from its wounds. Blood spurts violently. Under the ominous sunset, Jisoo reflects on their hard-fought victory. The orc proved tougher than expected, but their teamwork carried them through. Patrick looks frustrated about his class limitations, while Jisoo reveals her necromancer choice. The interface reminds them of their low-level restrictions. Despite the challenges, they're growing stronger together. But will it be enough for what's coming? Energy surges as Seongwu raises his hand, mana swirling in ethereal blue-green light. His enthusiasm is infectious as he suggests testing new skills. The bone weapon materializes with satisfying snap and crack sounds. A companion admires the glowing club, while the quirky skeleton offers weapons to the group. Take one each, it instructs with surprising personality. Hanho receives his weapon with grateful surprise. Thank you, he exclaims, determination finally replacing fear. But the reminder comes swift. It's only borrowed, to be returned when commanded. As they descend the stairs, Hanho notices the strange arrangement of cars below. Something doesn't feel right. The sunset backdrop makes everything look ominous and uncertain. The screen blazes with urgent instructions. Defeat the boss monster within the time limit or face stronger enemies. 801 ticks down relentlessly. Really? Again?
Someone exclaims in frustration. An orc unit begins their hunt as the system demands they choose a battle location. Heavy footsteps stomp ominously nearby. Time is running out. Thud, thud, stomp, stomp. The massive orc's roar echoes across the battlefield. Jisoo's face drains of color as she realizes the horrifying truth. Shit, that was where the student council ground was. If Dizon's group was there, the notification confirms their worst fears. The first attack has begun. 5 orcs. The dramatic sunset frames their mounting dread. Sweat beads on the blonde character's brow as he processes the threat. 5 orcs, fewer than the sports field but still deadly. The group realizes they're being hunted like prey. Fear mingles with determination as Seongwu's tactical mind races. Then his expression shifts, confidence replacing anxiety. I just got an idea, but will his plan be enough? Seongwu's smirk betrays his cunning as he gestures toward his skeletal minions. Using the lay from the land, and these guys, his confidence is infectious and terrifying. Menacing figures step forward with ominous intent. Hanho's young voice cuts through the tension like a blade. Look over here, you greedy pig bastards. His defiance echoes across the urban battlefield. The red ogre's booming growl shakes the earth, sharp teeth gleaming with menace. A nervous character trembles, stammering about greedy pig bastards before terror overtakes him. The creature lunges with a thunderous growling, followed by devastating slam and crash impacts. Through the chaos, a rallying cry pierces the air. Attack. The battle erupts in full fury. The muscular orc roars as combat intensifies. A heroic figure in green launches a devastating kick. Thwack, sending the beast reeling. Now's our chance, echoes across the debris-strewn battlefield. Victory notifications flood in. 43 gold, 24 gold, 55 gold for defeating orc hunters. Each fallen enemy brings them closer to survival. But the real test lies ahead. Seongwu reveals his expanded capabilities, 7 minions total, but mana remains his limitation at only 50 points. His companion boasts about a high-speed slash technique requiring a dagger. Jisoo chose strength, gaining valuable stat points. Hanho demonstrates magical flames dancing around his hands. Their powers grow, but so do the challenges ahead. Hanho nervously holds the sword as a small creature instructs him to return it for their strategy to work. The sunset paints everything orange as Seongwu commands stop with authority. Anxiety fills the air as weapons clash. SLAM, whack, dash in frantic combat. 7 orcs lurk in the distance as casual observations about group sizes mask the growing tension. A dark-haired observer watches with concern as chaos unfolds. A furious villain lunges forward against bright orange explosions. A determined girl urges her allies to help those in danger, ready to charge into the fray. A strategist in a suit calculates their approach against the orcs, discussing rear attacks while questioning trust in human allies. Slam! An unexpected movement triggers an EK from someone nearby. The dark-haired strategist suggests a different approach with infectious enthusiasm. Let's do this instead, he declares, pointing while explaining how they'll show the orcs the convenience of civilization. Confusion spreads as smash sounds echo. Frustration boils over about ineffective spear usage. Terror paralyzes the blonde character inside the vehicle as he trembles, crying that he doesn't want to die. A red-skinned monster with razor fangs lurks behind, growling menacingly. A gnome-like figure emerges with his cart, honk, followed by a swarm of skeletons. Panic spreads as someone asks Kyongsu about the chaos. As skeletons, stammers another voice. Horror escalates as the nervous character waves frantically. What the hell is that? A small creature with glowing eyes reveals itself, triggering terrified reactions. Someone asks if the threat has passed, only for a menacing DUDUN to signal its proximity. Get away from me. Outside, others frantically knock and plead to enter. Silence falls ominously over the street.
The sunset casts warm light behind the bus as relief washes over a survivor. Vous avez survived. He sniffles, emotions raw. Bang! Seongwu prepares to strike with his mallet amid flying debris. A friend tries lightening the mood, asking what he's doing while offering cola with nervous laughter. Humor attempts to pierce the darkness of their harrowing experience. A confident man in a green coat steps forward, claiming he has money and demanding others move aside. But there's a problem. The vending machine broke when someone hit it. Confusion spreads as they learn the machine can dispense items when functional. Following instructions proves challenging with limited gold. The discovery of an actual shop surprises everyone. Welcome to the E-Rank store. The screen glows invitingly as options appear. Bronze, silver, and gold lucky draws. A nervous character gulps, wide-eyed at the choices ahead. Skepticism meets determination as companions question the machine's reliability. But Seongwu counters with unwavering confidence. They've seen swords fall from the sky. Nothing is impossible anymore. The group tallies their wealth for the roulette game. Hanho has 360 gold. Bronze is his best option. Jisoo possesses 584 gold. But Seongwu reveals his substantial 1,552 gold, exciting the group about silver possibilities. A bright flash signals success as one roulette ticket materializes. Hope mingles with tension as they stand on the brink of something significant. Seongwu approaches the gold-grade roulette with focused determination. His friend watches in amazement as the cost, 10,000 gold, doesn't deter him. The device chimes invitingly under the sunset glow. Excitement builds as they contemplate the high-stakes gamble. Sometimes luck determines survival more than skill. Will fortune favor the bold necromancer? Success. Seongwu holds the glowing blue tier of the sea spirit, a legendary mana enhancement orb. His companion's excitement over the gold roulette victory sparks playful teasing about who should be celebrating. Meanwhile, frustration mounts over C-rank potion bundles as someone questions their luck. A person in red reminds them of the ongoing crisis at the sports field. Inside the bright E-rank store, tension escalates as a smaller character asks about demonstrating civilization's convenience again. The taller individual suggests using something bigger this time. Suddenly, stab, violence erupts as panic fills the air. A white-haired commander orders his group to form up and create escape routes. People are trapped in the stands. Roar echoes through the chaos as a character urges others to ignore distractions. Jinseok addresses shield bearers about leading the way while action explodes in the background. Honk signals an approaching vehicle as a muscular beast with red eyes growls threateningly. Smaz and SCRECH suggest devastating collisions nearby. Danger has reached its peak. Will anyone survive what comes next? Victory's sweetest moment turns bitter in an instant. Seongwu revels in his hard-earned gold from slaying an orc, his laughter echoing through the chaos. But celebration becomes desperation as panicked voices scream for everyone to board the evacuation bus. Then she appears, the determined female fighter, sword gleaming, ready for round 2 with a massive orc. Her battle cry pierces the air as steel clashes against monster hide, the sound of survival itself. The tide of battle shifts. The red-clad fighter's triumphant smile says everything. This time, she's not backing down. Her blade holds firm against the demon's crushing force as metal screams against unholy strength. Fire erupts as her counterattack lands, sending the horned beast reeling with an agonized roar. Victory tastes sweet on her lips as she shouts in triumph. But shadows gather in the distance, and that rumbling sound, it's not over yet. Blood stains the battlefield as the masked ninja staggers, steel buried deep in his flesh. Yet he fights on, pain etched across his hidden features. From the sidelines, keen eyes analyze the larger fighter's masterful strategy, keeping monsters at bay while his undead minions strike with surgical precision. Every swing, every command, every calculated step proves one thing. Seongwu has become a true commander of the dead. Doubt creeps in like poison as the brown-haired fighter questions everything. His sword trembles in his grip, not from fear, but from the crushing realization of his own inadequacy. Simple brute strength feels foolish now against such overwhelming odds. Then that familiar voice cuts through his despair, silver-haired and smirking, taunting him about his previous cowardice. The gray-haired man's casual confidence only deepens the shame burning in his chest. Confrontation explodes between former allies. Seongwoo's shield gleams as he faces down the silver-haired deserter, his accusations cutting deeper than any blade. The coward stammers about strategic retreats, while a terrified blonde boy clings to safety nearby. But empty excuses crumble under truth's weight. Everyone saw him abandon those who needed him most. The bus passenger's judgment hangs heavy in the air as shame burns the traitor's face. Desperation takes hold as the silver-haired leader's authority crumbles before his trembling subordinates. His cape flutters in the chaos while his men question every command, armor becoming a burden rather than protection. The casual fighter leans back with that knowing smirk, ordering them to strip away their defenses and flee like the cowards they become. But as they prepare to abandon everything, what new horror approaches in the gathering darkness?